Welcome everyone to this episode of the Pecino Report. Now you may think my voice is a little bit higher this week, and that's because this is Andra and Manuel. We've been set free without Dave and without Stu, so we're pretty much like two naughty children without any parents to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Yes, we got rid of these two.
Yeah, they were too serious. No, they're busy men, and we were too excited to record tonight, so you're stuck with the two of us. So there's no one here to keep us on track. Excuse the pun. That was my joke for the day. Tonight we're going to talk about how we've been questioning what MotoGP 2020 was going to be like. For me personally, I've been so excited because this is my introduction into MotoGP. So I'm like a fat kid in a cake shop. I'm absolutely blown away and don't know if this is normal, if this is not normal. But I don't know how I'm going to wait. Is it 2 weeks till the next race? Forget about normal life. I just want this to keep ticking along. But anyway, Manuel, you're the one with all the information.
Well, yes, I have to say, Andra, that I am almost as exciting as you are because... yeah, the start of the season has been simply amazing, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago, we asked ourselves, we wanted to know and we wondered how would this championship look like with all this situation we are in.
Uh-huh.
And now we have the answer, right? The championship is simply amazing. It's absolutely different from what we had in the past. So
no one could predict it, could they? And even with my knowledge, and I don't understand any of the mechanical side, but from my observation, what you guys have taught me over the last few months is, you know, you've got your better bikes, you've got your factory bikes, you've got your great riders, but all I've seen so far in these last two races is there's a big mix. There's not any huge, like some of the other bikes are doing better and some of the riders we weren't expecting to doing well. Half of them are falling off.
No. The situation is what we said is absolutely crazy. Yes, it's abnormal, let's say, right? So I think we should start with the conclusions of these first two Grand Prix, right? Because there is a special situation that the races have been done in the same circuit, in the same scenario within 1 week. So this is a situation absolutely new. And as we predicted, not because we are more clever than the rest, but probably because we are older, is
speak for you guys. No. It's all right, I'm older than Rossi.
I am how would I say? I am proud of because what we predicted is may more or less happen. Okay, because the question we put on the table before the start was who was going to benefit this double Grand Prix, okay? To whom? And we said that we foresaw that it would help those who need more time to get the speed on the bike. And these obviously are the rookies and riders who need this time. And one of these riders was Valentino Rossi. Because he has starting the season with a new crew, and Valentino needs more time to get the bikes correctly set up. And this is exactly what happened, okay? We have seen, this surprise of seeing rookies in front, riders who shouldn't be in the front. I think they are there, or they have been there, because they have had a long period to set up the bike.
When you talk about the bikes, I know we were joking and discussing about in that off period that they do a lot of the development on the bikes. So was that unable to happen leading up to this, obviously, because of the coronavirus? So there's not been a lot of modifications? Has that affected things?
Yes, there has been modification regarding last year's bike, of course, on all of them. But the biggest change has been the tires, right? The rear tire of Michelin that seems to have completely changed the behavior of some of the bikes. And because of this coronavirus lockdown, engineers and probably riders have not had the time to adapt themselves to this new important part that are the tires. And this, they have been some brands, we are going through everything what happened in Jerez. We will see that in some brands, this has been the key point for their performance, low performance, I would say.
Yeah. Is the temperature on the track normal for when they race, or is this hotter than normal?
No, the normal, no. I think when Valentino, who is the most experienced rider, said that it has been the toughest, the most radical race he has ever raced in terms of temperature. I know that in Australia, 40 degrees are sometimes like normal, no? But here at the track there was 40 degrees air temperature, 60 degrees the ground, and we saw that this has affected also the riders' performance. The riders finished the races completely exhausted.
Yeah, they were saying yesterday, like just that hot air that they'd be breathing. I can't even comprehend how tough it must be.
Yeah,
they're not getting sort of any relief from it.
Exactly. We saw some images of, for example, Maverick Viñales riding behind Valentino Rossi. At a certain point, he went out of the slipstream, and it was basically to get fresh air. It was terrible. And Dovizioso, for example, in the race before, after the Spanish Grand Prix, he said that he just couldn't celebrate his podium because he had no energy anymore. So it has been terrible.
So there must have been some cool air pocket on turn 9 because so many people seem to be falling off the track. Were they looking for that cool air? All through Moto 2, even turn 9, everyone was sliding out. Yeah, look,
it's interesting, and people who are not much into racing, for them it's hard to understand. If in MotoGP especially, a rider slipstreams somebody, right? And this hot condition, the tire, as it doesn't get fresh air, the air in the tire starts to increase
expand,
the temperature. And this makes the more pressure in the tire, and it changes completely. So there are times that even the riders have to slow down just to cool the tire,
I wouldn't have even thought of that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Super complicated. Because MotoGP, Andrea, you have to think that it's the most radical motorcycling. So everything in MotoGP is absolutely at the limit, and things like that.
Such a fine science. Yeah. Wow. Is it going to be a similar issue we're going to see, or they're going to be working it out over these couple of races? What they can do better, obviously.
But working out is not. I think it's not the right way to put it, because the tire engineers have done a fantastic job in Jerez. Look, the best thing we can say, and I have to tell you that I wrote this morning to my friend from Michelin, the engineer in charge of the racing tires, to congratulate him, because the tires have not been an issue during the weekend. We haven't seen riders complaining. We haven't seen, big problems. This means that they have done a good job. When the tires come out as an issue, it's because there are a problem. And in this case, obviously they were at the limit. But Michelin, how the French say, chapeau, have done a very good job.
Yep. I may be jumping here, but I'm still dumbfounded at, 14 riders finished the race yesterday?
Yes. This is, again...
Surely you don't lose that many.
This is the radical conditions in which the race happened. And, Andrea, the comeback after the lockdown and a long period without performing that the riders are not used to. They have
we talked about the other week.
Yeah, they have been probably anxious. They have taken decision not so clear-minded as usual. It has been a very tough race, yes. 14 riders at the end. I think started 22. That's not normal, obviously.
They were dropping off like flies. Is that an Australian term, dropping like flies?
Well,
have you heard that?
I think we understand. Flies are the same everywhere.
They're annoying everywhere.
Yeah, even here in Spain, yes.
So who were the big guns for these first couple of races?
Well, I return the question to you. For a newcomer like you, who were the, how do you say, protagonists? The main guys. In your opinion, which you were more impressed, or which one would you say, wow, this one did very well?
Well, see, it's going to be a boring answer probably, because it's going to be like Quartararo, but then he's won the only 2 races I've ever watched. But he's clearly been such a standout. I don't know, we probably won't talk a lot about Marc Marquez because everyone's talking about him, but having him there, I'm curious how different it would have been. Definitely Maverick yesterday, I watched him sitting behind Rossi, and I was thinking, how frustrated must he be, because it's like he was being held up, and then he dropped back to 6th, and then he, something switched on again, and off he went. And he was definitely the standout for me yesterday.
Well, yes, if you have choose one of them.
Maverick, because Fabio yesterday just got a clean run and off he went, didn't he? He didn't have to really fight against anyone. He just had to stay on. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but, Maverick had to fight. He had to get past Rossi. And
yeah, well, it's interesting your point of view, because if I do a list of the pros or the positive and the negatives of that Grand Prix, I would rather put Maverick in the list of the negatives. But you saw him positive. That's interesting.
Why negative?
Because
I'm very curious.
Yeah, look, Maverick, he did 2 mistakes in these 2 Grand Prix. The first one we spoke about.
Is one of him the video you sent of him going to get on Rossi's bike and it wasn't his bike?
I think
for the listeners, Manuel sent a video and it shows Maverick. He goes to get on. There was 3 bikes, wasn't there?
Yeah, he jumps out off one of his bikes, and and then he misses where he is, and then he walks in the garage of Valentino Rossi
goes to get on his bike, and the guy's like, "No, this is Rossi's. Your bike's over there." So there's number 1 mistake.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible.
It was hot. They're probably a bit delirious.
Yeah. Well, but no. Coming back to Viñales. Look, Viñales had the big opportunity to win that races without Marquez, okay? Then he did a big mistake gambling on the front tire in the first race in Spain.
Even that was obvious to me as a rookie.
And in this second Grand Prix, he did a mistake again, just at the beginning of the race, trying to overtake Quartararo, who was riding in front of him, without being prepared. So it happened, I don't remember, it happened very at the beginning of the race, right? Very early.
Yep.
So he tried, he missed the braking, and he was overtaken by Valentino Rossi. There, his chances to win the race finished. So he threw away almost immediately his chances. He didn't.
Was it like he just didn't? Because I don't understand that, but from what I saw and my observation was that he kind of halved it and didn't quite. Not that he didn't commit, but he just didn't have a clear way that he wanted to get through. Or
yes, I think he was not lucid enough, okay? Because he did the move when he was not ready,
Yeah, he was probably like, oh, hang on, I've got a chance now without being sort of prepared.
Yeah, no, because after the race he said that he needed to get in front because riding behind another rider, the front tire gets too hot and so on. But you are an experienced rider. You cannot do a move without having a big percentage of doing right, and he missed again. Yeah. Okay. And then, as you said, he was overtaken by Valentino, and then he folded back to 5th or 6th position.
Yeah, 6th, I think he was for a little while.
So, and then he came back, and he was lucky enough that 2 riders which overtook him crashed.
Oh yeah, Jack Miller was one,
and Quartararo broke the engine. Bagnaia,
yes.
the Ducati engine. So he was, look, if I were Viñales, I would have bought these 2 weekends, how do you say, a lottery? Because he has been so lucky, he has done such big mistakes, and getting out of these 2 races with 2 second position and 40 points, it's something incredible, amazing. So he was really luck was on his side on these races, and it was disappointing how he has managed these 2 Grand Prix. Disappointing for me.
I guess out of the percentage of all the riders, he did very well because he stayed on his bike.
Yeah, but no.
No, I'm being silly. Sorry, me being silly. Yeah, okay. I love this. Every week we talk, I'll look at it all so differently. The week after, because there's so many different things that can happen that lead to it.
But look, going back to the highlights of the Grand Prix, okay, we saw Quartararo, right? He won the 2 races. Obviously, he is one of the main factors of the Grand Prix. Marquez has been also around the whole Grand Prix. Yep. I also say that he didn't race, but he has competed on Sunday.
Was that more of a cycle? Do you think that him coming and giving it a go was more of a psychological thing for the other riders as much as a test?
Of course. Look, he hasn't been on his bike on Sunday, but I'm sure he was in the brain of all the other rivals, because
I mean, even when you sent us a message and said, they've just booked accommodation, and it was like, oh my God, he's actually going to be there. And that's everyone would have been, oh my God, is he okay? He's going to race. What's going to happen?
Exactly. Even his rivals, he is the one he has. Imagine, and everyone was like, when he went out on Saturday to test himself, everybody was like watching more what Mark was doing than focusing in themselves. Okay, so at the end, Mark has been one of the main characters this weekend, and he has done this knowing very well what he was doing.
And now he gets 2 weeks rest.
The pressure
but even
was
seeing that picture of his arm so swollen and bruised, and I was watching him every time he got off his bike to see how he was moving, if he was trying to psych him out, like, oh no, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong. But that picture of his arm, I don't know if everyone's seen it. There's a picture of him, I don't know, his arm swollen and like black bruised.
Yeah. Well, the riders are from another planet, they are really from a different point of view. Okay, going back to Quartararo, for example. Okay, Quartararo, of course, Quartararo has done 2 perfect Grand Prix, right?
Yep.
He did pole position the 2 races. He won easy the 2 races. It's very interesting. And the most important thing, besides winning, is Endra, that he hasn't done one mistake in any of the 2 races. No one. He has done 50 laps around in racing condition, in hot conditions, racing by himself alone, which is difficult.
He didn't have much pressure on him, did he? Like from other riders?
No pressure, but there is a mix, because when you race alone, it's very easy to lose the concentration. You start to think in other things, because you are there alone and everything.
Well, yesterday it was a good couple of seconds with someone behind him, wasn't
it? But both races he has been very strong. So fantastic, Fabio. He did a really good job. I am looking forward to see how he will behave when he got real pressure on him. Marquez and this stuff. So this will be very interesting, because so far his performance has been 5 stars. Anything to complain about.
What a way to start.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep. What about Valentino?
Valentino.
That was a bit exciting yesterday.
Yeah, look, the result isn't. I know that there will be the hardcore races. They will say, hey, they were missing Marquez, they were missing Crutchlow, they were normal.
But as you've said, every race there's some circumstance, and you go, oh, well, if that had happened and that person didn't fall off, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
he was up there.
These people would say that in normal condition he would be 6th and 7th, which may be true. But the fact is that he finished on the podium. The fact is that I think it was 17 races since he last podium in Austin, and it was fantastic. It was one of these moments that everyone is more or less happy.
Yeah,
to see Valentino
I don't think
back.
There's not many sad that he was.
Even his rivals, one of these moments that Valentino is back, Valentino is happy, and this was fantastic. For me was so good to see him back up there on the podium, and he, like he said, look, it's not a victory, it's just a 3rd position, but it looks like a victory. He said, because I have got back the pleasure of riding, which I had lost,
And especially after last week, everyone had him in the back paddock. That was so sad. Like I think you spoke about how sad that was. So it's like, no, hang on a minute, he's still here. Yeah,
but look, this links with what we said at the beginning. How can it happen that just 7 days before he did the worst race in his career, and 7 days later, it was not a
bit of a comeback.
Yeah, a comeback.
Bit of a,
The answer is what we just spoke at the beginning: the time to work on the bike. Valentino has his new crew chief, and he needs more time, and he got that time, and he made it. So really fantastic. And before finishing with Valentino, I want to underline something that really I got goosebumps when I saw. The when Valentino finished the race in the, how do you say, honor lap, or I don't know how you call it in English.
Yep.
Remember that he stopped the bike and he jumped on the protection that are around the track. And how do you say, he offered that result to the empty grandstands, you know?
Oh, I didn't see that. I missed that. I'm going to go back and watch.
Look, that is fantastic.
That's amazing.
You know? That's kind of saying to the people who support him around the world, I remember you, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And this is...
I'm going to go watch that. I missed that.
You have to look that because this is something only Valentino can do, you know? Only out of his fantastic brain comes out something like this.
Yeah,
you know,
for the people,
Look, then I suddenly thought about here in Spain, football is very important, right? I haven't seen any football player after scoring a goal running to them and doing like this, hey, I miss you, this is for you. It's only Valentino. And therefore, Valentino has all these fans around the world supporting him. Because
absolutely.
It's him. It's, you know, it's typical Italian spark, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even I love the way he went out, and they probably will do it anyway, but he really made a point to go up to the other two guys and, you know, congratulate them, and was so happy,
he was very
happy
funny.
and supportive.
But the detail of stopping in an empty track, jumping and doing S if the grandstands were full. As if it's
a full, that's beautiful.
That's Valentino.
Really cool.
That's Valentino.
That is very cool. I may have a T-shirt coming in the post, by the way. Someone at work had one the other week, and I was like, why haven't I got one yet? So I jumped online and I've ordered a BR46 T-shirt. So
I have some of them as well.
I bet you do. So the satellite revolution.
That's a nice headline. The satellite revolution. Yes.
Yeah.
This makes part again of this special format we are doing this championship, and we saw. Look, I think the starting grid on Sunday, we saw the first Yamaha was a satellite team, the first Ducati was a satellite team, the first Ducati was a satellite team. So suddenly it seems like, you know, there is kind of a revolution.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think they mentioned something about Taka. I think, was it because Mark wasn't on track that he was able to get their engineers? Is that what you think helped him a little bit?
Yeah, a lot. This has been very important. In the case of Ducati, it's amazing that a almost rookie, young rider like Pecco Bagnaia finished clearly in front of Dovizioso, Petrucci, Jack Miller. How can this happen? And Dovizioso, for example, he lined up on the grid in position 14.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
14. Pecco Bagnaia was position 3. How can this happen? So, you know, I
mixed it up.
Yeah, I question, and this makes you question a lot of things, like Quartararo, pole position in front of Viñales, and Viñales is supposed to be the number one rider. So there are, you know, this championship is super amazing.
Assume. Yeah. I was going to say, who fell off on the first corner? I was just looking at my notes.
Well, first corner was Miguel Oliveira, who started, I think, fourth position or fifth. And he was knocked down
in qualifying one and was like the fifth fastest. And then, so he was looking...
Well, he had a reason to be upset because he was knocked down by his teammate, you know, by Brad Binder. So KTM is another brand that comes out of these races with huge expectations. You know, the KTM have shown to have done a huge step forward, very big. So they have had his riders in the top position, so surprisingly, you know, in front of the Hondas, in front of the Ducatis, in front of the Suzuki. So the Austrian brand is one of the super positive points of the start of the season. In the race, they weren't very lucky because what we said, two mates knocked down each other, basically, you know. Brad Binder knocked down Oliveira, then Brad Binder crashed, then Iker Lecuona crashed. So at the end...
Poor Iker.
Yeah, your favorite.
It's that name every time it's pronounced. There's just something about it. It's great. He fell off last week as well? Did he finish last week or did he crash out?
He fell off last week. This weekend, I think he crashed 3 times.
Yeah.
So, but again, KTM, very positive. Very positive. We are looking forward to see what happens in the next circuit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at my notes here. So we've got the winners. We've spoken about Quartararo. Yamaha have had an amazing weekend.
Yes. Okay, let's go to a quick list about who won in Jerez, right?
Yep.
Who won? Quartararo, we already mentioned, clearly double winner of the race, double poleman. So fantastic for him. Cum laude, we say, no? You say in English cum laude? 10 with special honors. Yes. Then another winner of this Grand Prix that we could look. It's funny because we can put them in the winner list and in the losing. It's Yamaha. It's Yamaha as a brand. The Yamaha riders with Quartararo, with Viñales, with Morbidelli, with Rossi. It has been a fantastic weekend for them, fantastic, really fantastic.
But then compared to last weekend, the one before.
No, the last weekend they made 1-2 with Quartararo and Viñales. Dobby was third. And this time, 3 Yamahas finished on the podium. 3. Yeah. That was a huge success for them. And so Yamaha comes out looking very strong.
Yep.
For the newcomers.
What's the negative? What's the other side of it?
The B side of Yamaha is their problems with they have had with the engines.
What happened yesterday?
3 engines have blown up. You say in English? Yes, blown up.
Yeah.
In 2 weekends, which is absolutely rare, not normal.
Yep.
This has forced the factory team to use already after 2 races all the engines they are supposed to use for the whole season.
Yep.
How this will, the influence this will have in the future, we don't know. But look, they just have raced 2 Grand Prix and they have used 5 engines.
Is that what happened to Morbidelli yesterday? Was that an engine blowing up?
The engine blowing up. It happened to Valentino the season before, the Grand Prix before.
Yeah.
We know that Maverick Viñales had the same issue, fortunately, in a free practice session, not in the race.
Oh, my goodness.
But Yamaha has a problem. For one side, you have the sweetness of having done so well, but the sour of this
especially
serious engine problem. We will see.
And it's not just one. There's a few. Yeah.
How this will evolve. This is something that it will be very, very interesting. Very interesting. So therefore,
can they just fix all these for the rest of the season? Do they have a limit, or can they just?
Yeah, they have a limit of 5 engines.
Oh. Okay.
So
this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, because look, to compare Ducati and Honda, I have watched the list they provide. They have used so far 2 engines.
Yep.
Yamaha has used 5.
Oh, Ducati. What happened to Pecco's bike yesterday?
Exactly.
That was sad.
Yeah, Pecco, that was one of these, again, sweet and sour moments, because Pecco was flying.
He was
towards his first podium in MotoGP.
Yeah, and it wasn't that far from from the end of the race, was it? Yes. It was only a couple laps to go, I think.
Yeah, -5 things. Yes.
And knowing, because everyone could see that smoke, but he didn't know yet, and it was just like, no.
He admitted after the race that he was feeling. He knew that something didn't work, because
he was like, "It's all right, it'll."
Yes, it's right. Let's go. But at the end, exactly what happened, we don't know. But it can probably be a matter of that terrible heat that they had to race in.
That was sad. I felt
that he was almost ready for his first ever MotoGP podium, but on the other side, he showed that he's capable, and this is also important.
Yeah. Yep.
So it depends. Obviously, there was a sad part, but there was a super positive part.
Incredible. So, all right, still got talking about the winners. So we've spoken about the satellite teams. Do we want to go into that a bit more, or?
No, the satellite team is what we said. Look, the situation, the championship, everything has changed. Everything has changed, and it's funny because, look, if you have a close look, you may ask yourself, for example, Pecco doing as well as he did, and compared with the 2 factory riders, comparing with Dovizioso, then suddenly somebody in the garage or will ask themselves, hey, the bike seems to be better than what our riders have said in the past.
Yeah. Yep.
The same happens with Yamaha. Viñales and Rossi were complaining the last year about the bike. It doesn't work. Then suddenly a young Frenchman, 20 years old, arrives and flies on the same bike. So the Japanese may think, hey, hang on a second. Maybe the bike isn't that bad.
The bike or the rider? Yeah.
Exactly. So this is so interesting because it opens a lot of question marks that looking from the outside, the answer is quite clear. Hey guys, you didn't take out of this bike their 100%. Maybe the problem, instead of complaining, just watch what the newcomers are capable
Need
to do.
Need a young, energetic guy that's going to think differently or not worry about the same things.
And riding them differently. Riding. Because look, in a factory team, both riders can look at the data of each other, So in case of Yamaha, Maverick can look in the data of Valentino and see how he rides, and vice versa. So what happens when Quartararo arrives? He arrives with no knowledge. He just goes there and thinks, okay.
Does his thing.
And he says, okay, let me see how can I take out the maximum of the bike. He's not conditioned by any information.
And he's young and he's confident, and he's going to go, I can do this, and
he's
he does
open.
He rewrites it.
His
himself.
mind is open. That is very important in racing. So this is one of the nice things of these the arrival of these new satellite teams and the satellite riders. They are really protagonists and being there in the front, pushing everyone.
Yeah, mixing it up. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you talk me through Dovi? I haven't seen him too much, but everyone seems to be talking about him. Everybody seems to love him, and obviously he's done okay in the last couple of races, but I want to know more about him. I'm starting to get fascinated because everyone speaks about him so highly.
Yeah, look, I recommend you in my website pecinogp.com. There is an interview with Dovizioso, but a personal interview, talking about his not racing feelings, about what he expects from life, with which sin he's more radical, with which sin he forgives more. So it's very interesting to see his personality. Then, if you read that interview, you can understand how he acts being a racer. So Dovi is he thinks very much what he does. He thinks he analyzes too much many times the situation, and he acts after analyzing everything, He is
really
very
thinks
mentally,
about what he's doing, and
very mentally. Look, for example, this is very interesting with Dovi. Jerez is one of Dovi's worst circuits. Worst. He has never performed there. Okay. He knows this. He knew this before arriving, but he comes out of these two races, I think, fourth in the championship after finishing on the podium in the first race and a discreet sixth position last Sunday. So probably it's more than he expected. And attention what happened now, because Dovi is very, how do you say, brainy. He thinks a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, the next races we have are Brno, right? 2 races in Austria, correct? 2 races in Misano. And the next race is Barcelona. This is the sequence of where we are going to. In these 6 scenarios, Dovizioso has won races.
Okay.
So
He'll
he
be
knows
familiar and
and he knows that he's capable to win there. So what he did in Jerez is to minimize the losses.
And he maintained where he's still up there. It's not like
he knew that he couldn't crash because it would have been a disaster. So he took out the maximum of what he got, and now knowing that now it's his turn. On the tracks.
That one. Okay.
So, but this probably only Dovizioso does. Thinking that way, because the others, as you see, they crash in lap 1, the other one crashes here because they don't see forward for what they are or where they are. But Domi is very intelligent, so we will see if his reaction comes back in Brno, where he won races. So very interesting.
So he's one to watch for that.
Yes, very interesting. And this may be, for example, the opposite in Yamaha. This circuit in Jerez is very good for Yamaha bike, but now we are arriving on tracks where the Yamaha on the paper don't work that well. So it's another interesting point to see if this theory is right or not.
Yeah. So being on Yamaha, Morbidelli, we've got him down as a winner, but his bike did stop, so he didn't get to finish the race yesterday. But he had some great pace. Yeah, Morbido. Before that happened.
You know, the nickname of Morbidelli is Morbido.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Morbido.
Does it mean something?
No, it's just Morbido. And you know that Morbido. He is half Brazilian and half Italian. His mother is Brazilian and his father was Italian. Yes. So he's a very, how could you say, surf kid, you know, he looks like a surfer and he likes surfing.
He looks like such a character. He looks like a bit of a firecracker.
Yeah. And well, he is one of these that has done a step forward, in Jerez very well. He has been faster than his teammates, who is Valentino Rossi. No.
Yep.
His future teammate, sorry.
Yeah.
But he's progressing not with so much noise as Quartararo, but progressing step by step and growing. That's I think he will be interesting to follow and he will do great results. He could have finished on the podium. You know, he was.
They needed lots up there yesterday. Imagine it could have been different. Oh my goodness! But so with Morbidelli though, he's raced these couple like we were mentioning before with Quartararo. He didn't have a lot of pressure directly on him, where Morbidelli's been in amongst it. He's had that pressure. So next race, that could completely be a different scenario.
Yeah, look, last year Morbidelli was supposed to be the fast guy of that team, of the Petronas team, right?
Okay.
So he had pressure. Then appeared Quartararo from nowhere. So in a certain way, it was a disappointing for him. But this year he is in the other position. After what Quartararo performed last year, it's Quartararo that everyone expects to do.
Well, the pressures shifts on him. Yeah.
So Morbidelli can work in a much more relaxed way. And this is good for him.
Yep. Oh, I'm going to write all these down now. Who are we going to watch? You can't ask me to what I think or predict because I don't think anyone's got any idea, do they? You just don't know. It's out of control. So, all right. So we've spoken about the winners. We have to look at the other side of all of this. I guess we start with Marquez. He's had a pretty unfortunate couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. To put Mark in the side of the losers is basically because he didn't race, okay? And the losers because he will start the championship with minus 50 points.
I was going to say, how has he got the opportunity to get back up there? So he's got 0 points at the moment. He hasn't finished a race, is that correct?
Yes.
And then we've got Fabio's, he's on 40.
No, Fabio is on 50 and Maverick is on 40. Yes. Okay.
So has Mark's not on 0?
Mark's on 0.
Yep.
There are still 11 races to go. So this means 275 points.
But so he's got to come back fit and pretty much back to where he was.
Look, and it still depends on him to be the champion or not. Okay, it depends on his results. It doesn't depend of Quartararo doing bad. No, he can go out and race for himself. The problem or the thing is to see how physically fit he will return. Okay, but
is 2 weeks going to be enough?
Imagine if he did 10 push-ups hours after the surgery.
God.
Did you see that?
I watched that a few times, maybe because he was in his underwear or maybe because it was impressive to see him do push-ups after surgery. And people would have watched that and gone, oh my God, this guy's superhuman. But then you see the photo of him with his arm swollen and bruised and you're like, hang on, it's not all what it appears.
Yeah, no, but do you know anybody else who could do something like this? I don't.
Only if they're on some good drugs or something, but no, not at all. And he wasn't just normal push-ups, everyone. He had his feet up on a table and they were like, oh, yeah, Google it, YouTube it. It's impressive. So, yeah, I guess we got to wait and see how fit he is when he comes back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but he will return. You can't expect anything from Mark that with super high determination. If he was determined to race this weekend, imagine what he is not going to
he will, yeah.
To do.
And what is it, 6 weeks for a standard person on a broken bone to kind of heal?
Well, I don't know, but with him it doesn't work.
It's a whole other story. Oh man, this is going to be a long 2 weeks waiting for the next round of races, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I've got a week off in between all that. I'm going to have to go back and start watching all the old... It's not the same though, is it? We've been doing that for the last 3 months. I have a note here about the vineyards.
Viñales, yeah, we have spoken. Viñales.
Oh,
Viñales.
I wrote vineyards.
Vineyard, wine.
I was like, was everyone at the winery over the weekend, and the vineyards have run out of wine? I haven't been drinking. It's fine. Vinales. That's right. We spoke about that. The positive, the negative.
The positive. We went through this. We went also through Yamaha story, right?
Yep.
And then we have also mentioned that, let's say that the veterans, the MotoGP veterans, are the one who are standing on the loser side after this first Grand Prix. Okay, we have there who? We have Dovizioso, we have Petrucci, we have 50% Valentino.
Yep.
We have, the Carl Crutchlow.
Oh, but that was... How much pain must he have been in?
Yeah.
Was it he even went off to have a rest, and he's obviously gone, nah, I've got to finish this race to get the points? Or, you know, we talk about Mark and, oh my God, he did this, but the pain he must have from that injury to even hold on.
So brave, you know. Carl has shown that he is a real braveheart. You know, he wanted to stop, and the teams told him, "Look, you will get points. It doesn't matter, to finish." So he went out, but he must have suffered like.
And he was saying how sick he'd been feeling too, wasn't it, over the weekend?
Yeah, no, there have been some, and also Alex Rins, you know, with his shoulder. So these guys these guys have shown how committed they are and how. The level of athletes they are, you know, that is
phenomenal.
Yeah,
and the mental strength along with their physical strength.
Exactly. Because Marquez has taken the headlines, but Carl and Rins have the same merit that Marquez.
Unbelievable!
Got, you know? Yeah.
God, I struggle to roll out of bed some mornings because my back hurts. I can't imagine how they push through and do what they're doing.
And I think we should mention. Because it's important, Nakagami, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Nakagami was more surprised probably than Bagnaia. You know, it was like, bang, suddenly he was the ugly duck turned into a swan, you say? Swan?
Yeah.
It's exactly that. So where did he come from? So when we asked him, because obviously we asked him about what happened with this metamorphosis, no?
That's what I didn't know. Was it to do with their engineers and that sort of thing? Because he got all the extra attention?
It was interesting because he explained us that after Marquez's accident, the engineers that normally work with Mark paid more attention to him. They talked about, but okay, look, Andra, I don't know, but you can have on your side the best, I don't know, writer in the world, but you want to learn to write in 1 week. So suddenly, Nakagami went from being in the middle of the field to being very in the top. So it was like bang. So then
he sort of it was like, oh my God, there he is, because it was so focused on the other couple, and then it was like, oh my goodness,
who is this guy?
Yeah.
So he said that they went through Mark Marquez's data, right? Electronics, and there he saw how Marquez rides the bike. Obviously, when he says he saw, I understand him that the Japanese engineers told him, look at this.
Look at this, do this.
Exactly, look at this and see how it has to be done. So he explained, for example, that the Honda is a very difficult bike to ride. You know, and he explained, it's funny because for the first time, somebody explained the what this means. He said, look, from 2019, our bike has changed something in the front, the front of the bike, okay, the front. And this has made the bike more difficult to stop. Okay, because I can imagine that before they were using a bike that the front was very solid, that you can brake very hard, but then it was difficult to turn in.
Okay.
So they did a modification where it was easier to get in and turn the bike, but you didn't have that front feeling, that solid
like
front
stability.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this was a problem, and they never could stop that bike they were used to. And this is why they crashed so much in the front, with the front.
It would be like, I guess it would take so much getting used to. You know, we drive a car, you do a lot of the stuff in automatic mode, you know, in your actions.
Yeah, so
like learning a whole new one.
So they tried to ride this new bike with the old style. And what happens? They crash constantly with the front wheel. This happened also to Cal. The only who understood that bike was Marquez. So when the engineers came to Taka and told me, look at this, he said, I realized how Mark was using the bike. The question was, how is he using the bike? And he said, for example, that Mark is using a lot the rear brake to stop the bike. And he said, wow, I started to do the same things to copy his riding. He said, I had to change my riding, which for me is so strange, you know, within 4 days. But the case is that he went from middle of the field to the top of the field, you know? So amazing and so surprising.
I was struggling because I wanted him to get up there, but I wanted Valentino to stay up there, and I was just like, oh my God, like, who's going to,
No, it would have been very rare. He did very well in testing, but it's very strange that a rider suddenly gets from...
Just pops up there.
Yeah, no, they need a certain process, you know? They need, look, the thing is, they are in the middle of the field, then they start to grow, and then they are, during some races, at the top, used to race with the bests.
Yeah.
And then is the next step, but it's very difficult.
Because you've almost got a couple of separate battles going on at the same time. Like
exactly.
So you've got your grouped riders, and
so it's very difficult from jumping from the middle group to the front. You have to go through a certain phase, you know, phase 2.
You evolve into that, or what's going to happen?
You know, so it's so interesting, and so many things happen. You know, we one of the things that I am curious is if what we saw in Jerez is kind of a mirage. You say mirage?
Mirage, not quite real. It's a bit of
exactly. Is it real or is it a mirage? Because we have had 2 races in the same scenario, so we go to another. On the paper, things will change because some bikes adapt to certain layouts. Now we go to other layouts. Yamaha, for example. Yamaha has not the strongest engines. Absolutely not. But it's a bike that is very good in circuit that flows. You know, circuit where if you see Jerez, the bike is normal. It's very, almost never completely...
I noticed that.
You know, it's always lean over, and in this...
Right turn, left turn.
Yes, in this the Yamaha
I think
good.
Even as they started, it looked like, I don't know what the other tracks are like, besides what I've played on the MotoGP game. There was, as soon as the race started, there's a corner. Yeah. And then off they went.
Yeah, so in this the Yamaha is very good, and the Ducati is especially bad in these circuits. Now, in Brno, it's also a flowing track, but Brno is amazing. You should be there once. It has an, how do you say, like...
Bit of a hill. Bit of a rampy hill.
You know, the hill is... So the engine needs a lot of power. Lots of power. Oh, my
goodness. Is there a downhill as well, then?
The downhill is much smoother.
Or is it a bit of a gradual? Okay.
Yeah, much smoother.
It could get interesting.
And downhill, you know, any bike is fast downhill because it's downhill.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is going uphill, and there the Ducatis and the Honda have the stronger engines.
How's the Yamaha engine's going to cope on that track?
Yes, that's the theory. But
they might run out before the end of the season.
Or attention to the detail, they may reduce the power trying to save the engine.
Ooh.
You know,
that's not going to end well either, is it?
That can be a problem. So So far, Yamaha, wow, 1, 2, 3. Quartararo wins everything. Yamaha is the second rider in the championship. So far, they are on a honeymoon.
Yeah, and similar results on the same track.
Yeah, but after the honeymoon comes the real world.
and we can sit there and wonder, is everyone going to get back to normal? Because we spoke it's going to take a few weeks to kind of get back to that lucid state and the bikes, but I don't know, I think it's going to be shaken up for quite a while.
Yeah, but the good thing of this is that the rookies and the one who were in the back and have been in the front, now they have trust in themselves. They believe in them.
Yeah.
So now,
which is beautiful to see.
Yeah, this step, they won't go back.
Yeah, it's changed forever. It's different.
Exactly.
Yep. Oh, it's exciting times. Oh, well, I won't ask who you predict for the next race because I think we need to sit and really think about it and see. I don't know. We could just put some names in a hat and pull them out and see if we can guess.
No. Guess is absolutely no. We can go back to statistics, but fortunately, this championship is off statistics. It's something completely different, and this makes it so interesting. I'm not going to say that the waiting has been worthy because we would have preferred not to wait.
Of course.
But being in this situation, it's better like this than in another way.
Yep, it's exciting. It's exciting for the riders too. They're back racing. It's what everyone wanted. Are you planning on going to any other races?
No, because we got already a message from the championship organizer that we are not allowed to travel into the Czech Republic.
Okay.
It seems that Austria will be also difficult, and if things evolve normal, probably we will be allowed to go to Italy in September. So far, at home.
Fingers crossed. We'll cross our fingers for you, Manuel. Oh, it's been good chatting to you today. I feel like we were pretty tame and well behaved without the two guys to keep us in line. I was going to say our two daddies. The two daddies, aren't
So, it has been for me so exciting after yesterday I was supercharged. Supercharged,
Did you get any sleep last night?
Well, I worked for 17 hours writing for Italian magazine, for Japanese magazine. But at the end, when I fell on the bed, it was like switched off.
Yeah. But you'd have to get all that information out, or there's no way you'd be able to sleep, I'm guessing.
Look, I squeezed myself. When I went to bed, there was nothing more in my brain, which is not much, but
Love it. Andra. So people can check out your website. I'm definitely going to jump on and check out that interview with Dobby and get a bit more insight.
Look, there is an interview with Dobby, so interesting. And when I asked him, for example, what pisses him more off, his answer is that people don't understand me.
Oh, okay.
So this really...
Wouldn't expect that as a response.
No, it's very, very strange. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go look it up now.
All right.
Very cool. Oh, well, thank you, Manuel. Everyone, we'll see you back next week with the whole team, hopefully. Check us out on social media. Drop us a message. Tell us your thoughts about all the riders and what's been happening, because as you can see, everyone's got different opinions and different ideas.
That would be very interesting, to know what our listeners, their opinions, and because it's fantastic to share, to discuss.
Yeah.
That's why we are here for.
It is. It's fun discussion, and we all learn things in every conversation we have. So,
all right.
Well, good. Well, everyone take care, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good night. Bye, Andra.
Thank you.
Ciao, listeners.
See ya.